What's good, everybody? You know what it is and you know who it is. Buckeye Sports Talk with B. Moses, collaborating with the excellent folks over at the Buckeye Scoop. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, consider becoming a member of Buckeye Scoop. Some great people over there, some great discussion. But I want to dive right in as always. Got a few things I want to hit on. Obviously, we've heard all the Northwestern banter back and forth all week. Very, very windy. It was not Big Ten, normal Big Ten weather. It was next level, windy, could not pass the ball, had to run, had to make adjustments, pulled away late, the end. 21-7. Yes, it was frustrating to watch. I did a post-game show for that, and yeah, it was tough to get through, but we got the dub. And so with that said, a little bit of a fire that has been lit under the team, specifically the offensive line, for what I'm hearing, and them, doing better and just playing better. And so, I heard this weekend during the press conferences that they've been staying a little longer after practice. They've been working on more short yardage drills in practice and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, just a quick little brief summary of what I saw from rewatching the game, which was frustrating, but on the flip side, it's like, okay, man, we can fix this. Literally on several plays, it was like one guy that didn't get their block and everybody else got their block. On some plays that wasn't the case. On a couple of them stretch plays, Matt Jones is still struggling. He has an injured ankle, and it clearly shows. Donovan Jackson struggled in this game as well. So it's a combination from what I've been seeing of some individual effort. It's been some predictability in play calling, allowing the defense, who's been watching film like everybody else, to tee off and trigger on what they see is coming and know is coming. You can argue our line still has to fire off the ball. Agreed. But at the same time, if you're just making it easy for teams to read the play and come downhill, then that's a whole nother animal. Either way, this team has to do better running the ball, firing off the ball, better play calling, and individual effort, keeping their block. There was one play where Stover let number 99 just easily dismiss him and make the tackle. If he stays on that man for a second longer, there's a gaping hole for Mayan Williams to run up and gain 20, 25 yards. And there was another play on the other side of the field where Mayan missed his hole, and it was blocked up perfectly. And he went the opposite way of where the guard was pulling, and there was a hole open. So little stuff like that needs to be corrected. And again, I believe this team struggles mostly running the ball on stretch plays, outside zone plays. We've run that in the past and been really good at it. We just haven't been really good, overall this year with those plays, and especially with Jones being injured, he's really showing it. So adjustments need to be made. I do believe they're going to be made this week against Indiana. So I want to dive right into y'all's questions. Some questions that were asked from our Buckeye Sports Talk with B. Moses Facebook page. I'll jump into that, and I got a few final thoughts about Ryan Day and this team and the overall agenda going forward, and what I believe has been the thinking of the staff based off of everything I've been gleaning, hearing, and just having a pulse on the team. So let's dive into these questions. So let's start with Alex Escalar. What do you think is the biggest issue as far as our toughness up front? O-line coach or just scheme? We just don't seem to be developing the O-line into dogs anymore, which plays a huge part in the downfall of the run game. So I kind of just touched on a little bit of that. I kind of want to see, as far as the coaching, I want to see sort of the end of the season final product before I make a full judgment on Justin Fry. Is he going to be able to adjust starting this week and have this team playing better, technique-wise as well? Because there's also technique with some of these linemen. It's just they're just not – they need to sharpen up their technique. So I'm going to wait on the judgment on Justin Fry. But as far as the toughness, I would argue that this O-line is better than last year, okay? The issue is there's been some inconsistencies. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's just been spotty, like against Notre Dame, right? We finished that game off really getting a push and firing off the ball and, basically dominating them down the stretch in that game. And they have a good front seven. Notre Dame has a good front seven. We've also showed, that we could step up and do that against good fronts, even if we weren't starting out, good, especially like against teams like Iowa and Penn State on the road. Against Penn State on the road, we stepped up late and ran when we needed to and got a push and stuff like that. So we're seeing it in spots, but it's just not consistent. So, and I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a mixture of technique, the want to, play calling, all of that. But everything has to come together, and they have to be better. Period. So, a few questions about the O-line as expected. All right, so let's go to Rick Smith. He asked what's happened with the O-line. Kind of already answered that. Number 2, he asked, do you think they would benefit by a trio of running backs to keep fresh legs in at all times? I was very confused. I was ready and prepared to see Chip Trainum and a little bit of Hayden against Northwestern. I was scratching my head over that. Like, why not play Trainum? Remember, Trainum was a starting running back at Arizona State. Even when he didn't start, he was playing starter minutes. He's a really good back. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's Zeke Elliott, but he's a really good back. Physical, has good speed for his size, and he's played, D1 college football at a high level. So I was wondering why we didn't see him, and to give, Mayan some a little bit of a break, especially with Mayan still, running with that dinged up knee. So I was definitely like what's going on with that? But Ryan was asked about that in his presser, and he mentioned he was very emphatic that they need to get some carries, and I'm assuming they will against Indiana. Hopefully so, because we could use Chip, especially with his experience and his size, down the stretch of the game. If our guys need a break or if they're still dinged. So I'm looking forward to see that against Indiana. All right. When will the JSN soap opera, Jackson Smith and Jacobs soap opera, be over? Billy Langdon. So it's going to be over either at Maryland or against scUM. That's when he's going to make his appearance. That's when he's going to try to get back out there and give it a go. I'm praying that once he gets out there, he stays out there because he's fully healthy. Again, everybody has their opinion about this injury and is he being rushed back and forced back and all the other stuff. Hamstrings are one of the most unpredictable, most challenging injuries you can have. So you can feel like you good, practice all week, but then you get out in the field and really do some strenuous things, and you're not good. It's really ultimately a coin flip at times, and that's the challenge. So the soap opera will be over at that point. Next week at Maryland, if he tries to go then, or scUM. Because if he tweaks it again, I think he's officially done. I think. You know what I mean? Because you're just running out of time. You're running out of runway. So that's when I believe it'll be over. All right, let's see. What else we got here for the questions? All right, other than Charles Henson, other than Marvin Harrison Jr., excluding JSN, who was our second threat at wide receiver, should Kate Stover be utilized more? Will they now hold Stroud for running again until we play scUM? Thanks for answering our questions. Okay. So I say the second threat is clearly Mecca Ibuka. I mean, he's the second threat. It's arguably the first threat, depending on what the defense is doing. He's been very, very productive. Marvatron, he's the freak. He makes the freak catches and all that other stuff. But, your boy Ibuka is pretty steady Eddie. I mean, he's a playmaker. So definitely Ibuka. But I do think Stover is going to be used more and more. Listen, and I'm going to get back to this. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's going to be a very specific game plan for scUM. You best believe. And I do think a Stover could be used more so in that game plan. But yeah. So what else we got here? I got time to answer maybe one or two more. Okay, Woody Ingram. What top high school football recruits are still on the radar? So the top 3 right now, hands down, that everybody's talking about and wondering about is Damon Wilson out of Georgia, Keon Keeley out of Florida, and Mateo out of California. All right. Mateo Ungalungalele is the brother of DJ at Clemson. All right. We're in on all of those guys. The Damon Wilson recruitment is a back and forth between us and Georgia. Keon Keeley has been a crystal ball Alabama guy for a while, but a lot of people thought he would have pulled the trigger for them by now. His holding out is giving Ohio State hope for some people on the inside. There's people on the inside who believe they're actually going to get Keeley. We'll see. Mateo loves Ohio State, but he also loves the music, the opportunities for music out in LA, for like USC and stuff like that. But his parents love Ohio State. He loves Ohio State. So those are the top three that's out there right now. And again, it's a mixed bag on what people think we're going to do or who we're going to get. So we'll see, man. We'll see. The more time Keon Keeley takes, I think it's better for us, especially if Alabama plans on replacing their D-line coach with some of the coaching changes with them losing 2 games. So we just got to wait and see with that. But so yeah. So let me hop into what I want to talk about lastly. First and foremost, I do think we get back on track against Indiana. I know time is of the essence. It's getting very, very close to that game on November 26th. This team is tired of hearing about the struggles in the O-line, hence what we've been hearing this week, what they've been doing. We're back at home, and I think we're going to come out with a much better performance. It's supposed to be a little weathery, but the whole weather thing is overblown, man. Listen, that wind at Northwestern was not normal weather, all right? So this weather, we've seen CJ Stroud throw, for a lot of yards accurately, in rainy weather, even in snowy weather. In Ann Arbor last year, he threw for 394. Our defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. The weather narrative is overblown. So I think we're going to be much better tomorrow in the shoe versus Indiana, period. And I think we're going to get our blowout, and that's just what it is. This team will be fired up and ready to make a point. So, listen, I did a Facebook Live a few days ago and kind of went in about this, but I wanted to reiterate on these thoughts. So, the bottom line is, I know people have been asking, is Ryan Day holding out? Yes, he absolutely is holding out. He's absolutely sandbagging. All right, I'm just going to get straight to the point. Just watch the games and look at how vanilla this team has been calling plays on offense. Every now and then we'll pull something out the bag, like against Penn State. We pulled out the bag, the nice play where Stover stays in and blocks and then leaks out. You know what I mean? We had to win the game. We pulled out CJ Stroud against Northwestern, keep around the edge a couple times. We had to win that game in that situation with the win. So you best believe Ryan Day is obsessed about this game. He wants this game bad. All right? Don't forget Ryan Day, how intense he is, especially when it comes to revenge games or, get you back games. Think Clemson 2020, Dabo running his mouth, and just how everything went down the year before. And you see how he came out and smacked them. Wasn't nothing soft about that team. Wasn't nothing, vanilla about that game plan. So you best believe with hairball running his mouth, starting with that press conference back in 2020. Also, the whole born on third base, basically, you can't get no more insulting than that to a man's, career, his work ethic, everything he's done. It completely, undercuts all of that. And then, of course, you can't lose again. We lost last year for the first time in a decade. So you got all these things, and then and their players are still chirping. There was a quote from Mid Carthy recently, running his mouth with a Poggy or something on some podcast. Man, they got all this stuff in the whack, man. They want this game badly. Ryan Day wants this game badly. So as far as the holding players out like Henderson, who could play in a pinch, why play him when you're trying to get him healthy? All the chips are being pushed towards the middle of the table for this scum game. That's why you're seeing some of the load management with some of our players when they could play if it was scum, because it's all about that game. So I'm telling you, The effort you saw against Northwestern is not going to be the same effort you see against scum. For those who are out there wondering, who are overreacting, basically saying, scum is going to kill us based off this Northwestern game. It's not going to happen, y'all. I'm still very, very confident that we get the dub against scum because this team is talented. They're more talented than them, and the effort and focus is pointing towards them. And we just overlooked Northwestern. I think we undervalued the weather. I know I did. I knew it was going to be like stormy, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad as far as the wind goes. So, let down game after an emotional win, Penn State, crappy weather on the road, we're going to blow them out. It happens. We still got away with a 2-touchdown win. Now it's handle business time. We're 2 weeks out. It's time to go full throttle, and I believe we're going to see that against Indiana this Saturday as we go into that game on November 26th, and I can't freaking wait. All right. That's it for me today. Holla at me in the comments. Get at me. Buckeye Sports Talk with B. Moses on Facebook. Also, Instagram is BMoses30. And like I said, make sure you like and subscribe to Buckeye Scoop. Appreciate y'all, and go Bucks.